Penny Wrenn Media, send it to bum 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 bum. Penny Wrenn Media, sunny nami nami here. Penny Wrenn Media, Penny Wrenn Media, Penny Wrenn Media.
Hello. Hi. Good afternoon to whoever's watching, and I can't see you. Happy Tuesday. I am here because I hear my mother in my head telling me to keep going, keep broadcasting. And there's nothing like having encouragement. You could call it that, I guess. It's the thing. This is the thing that's been on my mind a lot, is meaning. The words that someone says and the meaning that it carries for the recipient, for the hearer. Now, I grew up as an only child with my mom, and I have a relationship with my father, a lot of back and forth, etc. She's domineering, pretty authoritative, and also very loving, caring, wonderful, etc. There's a joke that's not a joke, though. It's like it's a literal takeaway from my upbringing, which is that I grew up in a house where if my mom couldn't find something, it would be Penny, where is my blank, or where is the blank? There are only two people in this house, and if I didn't have it, I know I didn't have it, then you had to have had it. Now, the takeaway from that phrase or that rationale isn't whether or not I moved something or I did have it. It was that in that rationale, my mom's memory, her searching, her remembering were infallible. And the absence or something or appearance of something was automatically what she believed it was, because there were two people and because she didn't know where it was. Now, this is where it gets tricky. When you grow up with someone that who believes something about you that you don't believe. And I think when you live with someone, not even just grow up, right? That's the point. Now, I was raised you have to concede to what the other person says. For the most part, I did move it. I'll find it. I'm assuming I did move it. The thing that happens, though, is at a time like this, I am now a person who honestly is having a very difficult time just being who I am. Fuck. And I don't think I'm alone right now, right? Because this environment, when I say this environment, I'm not talking about politics. I'm specifically talking about the workforce, livelihood, the dynamics of livelihood, right? And, when you listen to the news and you hear about affordability, you're like, what is affordability? Affordability has less to do with what something costs than it does to do with what someone makes, to me. If you happen to have seen the conversation with Brian and me talking about a cheating. I don't even want to call it a scandal. I don't know. Something that happened at Brown where a teacher devised, a workaround for students to take tests such that they wouldn't have access to large language models like ChatGPT and Claude when writing their when completing their exams. And there was a discrepancy in their scores when they were allowed to to complete the exams at home versus when they had to complete them in class. And at home they got high marks, a lot of 90s, and in class they got a lot of low marks from anywhere from 70s to 20s and 30s. And Brian sent me this article and I read it and we talked about it. And his takeaway was about just cultures of cheating and more. And because he attended Brown, he attended not only Brown, he attended Cornell. He also attended Georgetown. Brian is a very, very knowledgeable person. Like he is a walking encyclopedia. And yet, one of the things that we do differently is because, I honestly think this is because I was raised with having to interpret so much, having to explain myself and interpret, being asked to explain myself and not even being able to. I don't know was my favorite answer for most of my childhood. And even now, there never seems like there's sufficient answers sometimes to kind of respond to someone's line of inquiry about why you're doing the things you're doing. And, in the case of this Brown thing, I found myself really struggling with the word cheating, like that there wasn't even a definition of cheating, that it starts with the allegation of cheating, but doesn't even define what that teacher thought was cheating. And I thought, why wouldn't any of those students, any of the parents of those students, be up in arms about their children being held to a non-standard? Then someone will say to me, often in a way that's intended to, how people say, well, you know what cheating is. And that is how the world goes. There is so much. Well, you know what I'm talking about. And need for just quiet acceptance, just need for not saying anything in response. And I feel like the reason that this makes me sad is because we are at a time in our universal existence, but definitely in our life as a country, where we need to say things in response to everything that's being said to us. There's so much being said to us. I talk about all the time having my earbuds in, listening to content all day long. My husband is always reading articles, reading on his phone all day long. My mother watches Ben Misalis all day long. My friends listen to Heather from Juicy Crime all day long. Someone else is watching CNN all day long. All day long, all day long. We just consume so much information. Now, little do I talk about, while I'm listening, so much of my listening is not even listening. I'm paused. I've got the audio paused. And I'm really making sense of what I'm hearing the great thing about podcasts is that when you hear a word you don't understand, you can hit pause and you can look it up on your Merriam-Webster app. And then you can take that definition, literally copy and pasted it, and you can recite, you can say what was just said in the podcast. You can input that into a large language model like ChatGPT or Claude, and you can help make sense of what you're hearing versus what's being said. And the thing is, I'm tuned in to what I'm hearing. And I think a lot of times people invest way too much energy and effort into making you believe that what you are hearing is not true, or is not what it signifies, or is not symbolizing. I was just looking up, in my email inbox, I subscribed to a lot of different AI newsletters and things. And one was about forward deployed engineers, what's called F as in E as in E, FE. This is a new job title of the future, meaning this thing that it's origin likely date from 20 years ago with the Palantir, which let's look it up real quick. What does Palantir? How would you define Palantir quickly? But it works a lot with the government. It's like it's a software company. Yeah, it's a software company. It's a big data integration and AI analytics software company. They've got contracts with the government, contracts with a lot of different people. And apparently either the concept or the actual job title, job function originated at Palantir maybe a decade, maybe 2 decades ago. And I assume that this is now becoming like let's learn from another software company. Let's learn from another company in our area of expertise, when OpenAI, the company that makes ChatGPT, now says that they are creating or have created a deployment company, and that deployment company is defined by forward deployed engineers. And this email in my inbox is saying that he's been getting all these inquiries asking him to define what forward deployed engineers are. And so I'm do a little curse reading. And I'm like, wait a second. This is being a journalist, except also knowing code. This is a customer success representative, except also knowing the software development skill is and having sense about management, curious, right? There are jobs about knowledge transfer. When you work at the intersection of one human reality to another reality, meaning when I worked in search engine marketing with a tech company, I worked at the intersection of the human reality, someone who searches and the human reality of a company who had business their life on that person's search results. My job was always to interpret, to literally rate those two realities. I must improve your search results, right? And you need to have them. I must do that the company wants to do it, or I do in the whatever. I'm getting by. And as a journalist, you pick from on the ground of reality, living my life every day. I'm always pitching stories about, especially when I was in New York, that every conversation would think like, oh, that's how. Which I'm thinking, that's how one of my favorite came about. That's what's called the for Odin. Actually, truthfully, with the executive editor telling me we're working you about in period. That's we're not talking this right. We're talking about deserts and climate change, right? We're talking about energy. G-Pick and Trendline or the women's magazine. For life is about how he tells you and exercise. And read that, and I'm like, aren't there any other way? Meaning, if you doing better and if always doing better, hearing things, you're actually better. At some point, you have to solve for disparity. You gotta get curious about that middle ground. You have some surface thing else other than your quote, other than what is true. So here's this forward engineer job title, and I think, oh God, wow, it's meaning tech companies still that I'm there. Their population, the population of individuals whose experience itself, right, to wonderful that you really want forward to do, which is to interpret the human reasons of customers and intelligence to the technology that are deploying their systems for those humans. Be clear, you own the intelligence. You might think the person, the reality with whom you want to deploy, but you're not. Do you know my reason? I'm not a person skill set. The world doesn't tell I can do. It's why recruiter, but we're not available to people. It's why there have sourcing layers, interpretation layers to add on back loops to the wider reality of the world. And the thing is, you are assuming so many days. Most of it's not just like a. Not just an intermittent mind. It's kind of state of mind. You feel like more whether it's a seer or a memory money or a forward player, the actual AI, all of these things that are being thrown at you that never quite like they are mean. What are always like with what is one to do? I get on here and everything should be true. What you're supposed to do. Now I can't even think of it. Well, I have the idea. You have the idea. Look, but I don't want to do that. And I don't want to do I want to be sure. I feel like I have a lot to share. I am not equipped. And honestly, I don't want to be equipped to think my time on rather than making videos that in my head. I would much rather have human, how I see them in my head, and employ the human to make them form. Because there are humans who are much doing that. I want to do that. Do you know what I want to do? I want to figure out all complex problems. People will, and I would include, I do, here's how people tell you to use. I've been using, here are the just up a world Howard engagement. And do you know what else I want to do? I want to make sure that we continue what we I want to make sure actually cover this attribution we lost in the first internet economy. I want to, and I'm saying now. I mean, look, at the end of the day, I don't have every day. And just talk, because who wants to listen to me? Who wants to just search pages, me crying? And I know better than better. So I'm just here to say, I've been reading a women, even with me. I'm pivoting. We're all pivoting. I have a feeling, though, like pivot is like full round. Gather a little bit of self-turning to keep in. There's so much for men to do from every single angle that feel more than you do why? Because the direction chosen to focus on has to do more with what someone else is telling you to do. Keep doing. I have to believe. Have to believe that they're in here for me somewhere, that they're unlocked, meaning swivel and the your fun. So, because they're so good, because not patterns they're acting. I have a feel that among those who are people solve one thing at once, to me, is kind of one of the excellent use cases for AI. Context mapping, kind of is what they call it. And when Cloud do it, and good at it. How do you know you're good at it? You're putting all of that sense making into the domain. Part of it is because and you're still figuring out how to make AI, right? You're still figuring out how to use some of these autonomous, these so-called autonomous tasks, like AI can publish for you, AI can do this for you, and everything there's been required that people still need to. But in the meantime, I'm convinced that we live in a time where we're dumb to not positively reverse engineer for an outcome. And I'm seeing that people are working well into their 70s. And I've seen that the amount of money you need to be able to care for yourself at 75, 80 plus hasn't been stated. No, we have all these assumptions that we have no durable data that is graphics, all things. And so I'm like, you want to be smart, you want to be smart, and being smart is being slow, and being slow is, it's just a fucking, it's not good enough. I want to know closely about AI, and I'm not, it's the not good enough trap. Right? Like, you're not at AI, you're not enough to get a credit for it, right? Because if you use it, you're not being the human in the mix. If you right, there's thing that's good enough, right? Even people talk about this memorandum of how it should have been. Okay, but what's good enough to do right now? Like, there's nothing ever good enough. We can't arrive at what's actually good enough. Who's the drive? The mark of the prize of the high calling of God in Christ, right? I learned a word today, teleological, and which is like purpose-driven, design-driven, and telos, T-E-L-O-S, which is an ultimate end. It was in a podcast selling at Brookline, and he was talking with a guest about, and as we were saying that in the U.S. we can't understand this critical view of what doing that the kind is the right thing, have, and I was like, wow, I didn't know. Just doesn't. I hear what you're like. No, all Judeo-Christian has that. If not logical, it definitely has belief in something. You need the and put it. And as is feeling what's I'm said out loud to it's minded, the double-mindedness, good that set up socioeconomic. So much of your line worth is made by computers, algorithming an application, or whether you're, and they sound like, I'm not going to argue with what they sound like, because what they sound like is completely up to you. It's not up to me. It's not up to me. But I also think that they're real dilemmas too. And I keep, people want, not even like they think is most likely to happen, but what they want to happen, not just for the market's sake to get a quick buck, because that's how the poly markets work. Apparently, a lot of people too have been betting on the midterm election. That is accumulated because of these automatic terms of service things, because you have to hit accept in order to have access to a technology, and we have normalized that hit accept as if it's a stoplight, right? And you're just waiting for your turn to go. Versus that, well, anyway, and so. But so I'm listening to this, I'm thinking, okay, right. Like that's, of course, that I think of that as being shady. It's kind of like, it's like insider trading, I guess. But also you could argue that, I mean, the political operators now, like that population, it's so diffuse that I would think that there's probably only 7 degrees of, there's really probably only 7 degrees of separation from some campaign insider that all of us have. But I do think that individuals voting on what's likely to happen can also be re-engineered into individuals voting on what ought to happen. That's interesting to me. And because of how we're talking about poly markets, I fear we won't get a chance to talk about what projection, like what that looks like in a way that's not gamifying our will for a buck, but that's operationalizing or mechanizing our vote such that it stays more attached to us, to our trigger, and not so attached to, quote, like market forces that are beyond the scope of just what individuals are saying based on what they want, I don't know if that makes sense. I'm going to assume probably it doesn't because I'm, but maybe it does. But again, there's this whole gap between words and meaning, but there's not any public room to explore it. And then it just stays in Penny D. Wrenn's head as just this, I just keep thinking of it as like it's a knowledge space disparity, where there are all these different pathways of sense making that we could be exploring, but we're not. Or that we're not on as large and as variable a scale as we explore, and this is going to sound like I'm not even, as we explore what Donald Trump does every day, or as we explore, who true crime, or as we explore reality TV shows, or as we explore, hip hop beefs, or as we explore Taylor Swift's wedding, or as we, and this is not me looking down my nose at all of that content. It's really not. It is me saying that I wish that in all this money that's around, like all these people that have all of this high net worth, who are high net worth individuals, like, to me, these are things that donor advised funds could be deployed for. Like, why not fund thought patterns? Not thought patterns, but just areas of discussion. I think I talked about this with 101 Ideas on the 24-hour broadcast, which is like, we grew up with a lot of public service campaigns, whether it was Only You Can Prevent Forest Fires, or This Is Your Brain on Drugs. There were these purposes, these design intentions that were engineered through communication mechanisms. Now, it wasn't governments necessarily that did this. There were, I guess, This Is Your Brain on Drugs was the United Negro College Fund. You know what? I should get interested in what did, let's see. Let's do a transition and let us see what did, oh shoot, I gotta, hold on. What did, Hold, please. I'm just setting up my next scene. Excuse me. Hold, please. And my thing is still just moving so slowly, isn't it? And this is another thing. Do you want to know why I don't do this? It's because I don't have the equipment set up, and I don't have the money to buy new equipment set up. And this is new equipment. Technically, it is. So there you go, friends. All right. Okay. Let's see. Origin of United Negro College Fund. This is your brain. Oh no, that's not that. United Negro College Fund is a mind would be a terrible thing to waste. A mind, terrible thing to waste. Now, I'm also going to do a separate one of origin of the This Is Your Brain on Drugs. There's that. Let's do this. Origin of This Is Your Brain on Drugs campaign. Okay, let's go to the United Negro College was incorporated in, okay. Oh, a mind is a terrible thing to waste. Oh, it was coined in 1972? Forrest Long. It was originally established to pool financial resources and expand educational opportunities for Black students. By the early 1970s, The organization sought a broader, more impactful public awareness campaign to boost declining donations. They partnered with the Ad Council and Young and Rubicam Agency, which developed the now legendary slogan to highlight the untapped potential of minority students who lack the funds for higher education. Untapped potential. Potential is a word with which I have a lot of complicated feelings. It's a word that my mother has used about me before. It's literally, she wrote it to me in my card for when I went to college, that she hopes I live up to my potential. I always think of that as such a I don't know, it can be a discouraging thing to say. And now it makes me rethink a mind is a terrible thing to waste. Now, in the application of the United Negro College Fund, at least there, the implication was that, hey, all you folks who have money, you could be giving money to us, and then we would be able to provide, pump those resources into all these students who are amazing, and the only thing stopping them is money. In a card going away to college, the implication is that, hey, I've pumped all these resources into you. The only thing stopping you from being greater than you are is you, right? Let me see. Who is Forrest Long? Okay, Forrest Long, Young and Rubicam. I'm wondering if he's black. Do they have a picture of that person? Okay, let me see. Let's go to ChatGPT, which you can't see on here, and that's going to have to be okay. Forrest Long, the Young and Rubicam executive who coined mind is a terrible thing to waste. I can't. Oh, wrong. I can't find any information as to his race. Is it known whether he was black or white or otherwise? Why does it matter? Why does it matter? Why does it matter? I don't think it doesn't matter. Why does it matter? I don't know if it matters or if it's just a data point about which I'm curious. And will it change anything? No, it won't. It literally is just I'm curious. Yeah, I'm curious. So so this is the origin of the This Is Your Brain on Drugs campaign, conceived by the Los Angeles advertising agency. Key Donna Perlstein became one of the most famous and culturally iconic public service announcements in American history. The concept, the creative team wanted a stark, no-nonsense way to illustrate the dangers of illegal drugs. They came up with a visual metaphor, an uncooked egg representing a healthy brain and a hot frying pan representing drugs. Okay. The initial fried egg spot was written by BHI founding partner Larry Johnson. The ad was incredibly successful at capturing attention, prompting later versions in the 1990s featuring, actress Rachel Lee Cook. I remember that. And even an updated 2016 version addressing modern drug crises. I'm assuming that's fentanyl. Let me see something. BHI. Let's see who Larry Johnson is. I wonder if he's still alive. Why won't it let me? Okay, Larry Johnson. I wonder if he's still alive. Oh, that's the wrong spelling. Larry. Oh, he's the owner of Big Honkin' Ideas Advertising. Big Honkin' Ideas. I love it. Big Honkin' Ideas. He went to the Missouri School of Journalism. Oh, he has such a friendly face. Look at his face. Big Honkin' Ideas. I love it. It's sign in. I love it so much. Big Honkin' Ideas. Let's reach out to Larry. Well, actually, let me see. Let's just see. Follow, more, connect, add note. All right, here I go being lazy. Actually, no, say Larry. I tell you my curiosity works wonders. One, I wonder, origin of This Is Your Brain campaign. Google search. A single Google search. Wait. And another query of your name led me to your LinkedIn. Know that your work continues to inspire. I see this. Takeaway. You can only do 200 characters. All right, now I'm going to have ChatGPT shorten this. Let's see. Okay, sending this note with a linked in invitation, and it's 5 characters too long. Oh, and I spelled his name wrong. Oh, no, I didn't. Larry with Larre. Larry, I tell you, my curiosity works wonders. One Google search of origin of This Is Your Brain campaign and a query of your name led me to your LinkedIn. Take away your work. No, you didn't shorten anything, did you? Oh, it did. Wonder what it short. Let's find out. What did it delete? And this is what, anyway, I was going to say, this is what I love. It changed, and another query of your name, perfect, and a query of your name, deleting another. Beautiful. Fantastic. Great. All right, then send. Big honkin' ideas. I just love that. Big honkin' ideas. It's such a great, it takes a particular kind of person to name his business Big Honkin' Ideas. And accept the agency. About Big Honkin' Ideas. BHI is a 25-year-old full-service creative agency headquartered in Los Angeles. Our business card says everything you want in an agency except the agency. Interesting. A proposition that's been especially attractive to clients who've had their fill of prima donnas, politics, and any process but the thought process, and paying an arm and a leg. We vote early and often for fresh thinking, laser strategies, sharp creative. Let's get to work. This is their team, partner creative director, Ryan Smith, art director. Oh, man. Let's see. Do they have a contact thing? What's my budget? I don't have a budget. Less than 55K. Brand. Actually, let's just do a contact. I want to reach out to Larry in a personal email. Let's do. Okay, so we need to close out some things because we got a quit warning. And also, well, so now we're going to add in, let's see. I'm going to write a quick letter. And because the bottleneck is me, I believe that wholeheartedly, meaning here's the thing. I know that I need part of getting work, being noticed means a lot of reaching out to people, and reaching out to people can, you have to deal with a lot of self-talk when it comes to that. And so I'm going to offload this to ChatGPT. Here we go. And let's see. All right. I want to read in a personal email. I keep saying to myself the name of his company, quote, Big Honkin' Ideas, end quote, that it tells you a lot about a founder, an entrepreneur, an executive who named their company Big Honkin' Ideas. And it brings, you get a sense of joy and also a sense of, honestly, I want to say DGAF, that to me signifies someone who I'd like to know, formally or informally. A little bit about me. My background is in journalism, etc. All the things you usually say. I usually say that right now I am, I don't know, which of my websites would be the best place to, trying to think which of my, I just made one recently that I really liked. Oh man, was it the, I already closed Claude. Let me look real quick. Oh, okay. It could be, so maybe, should I do midlife.work or midlife.media? Should I use midlife.work or midlife.media? All right, now this is the part where I guess I need to also share my Chrome screen with you. So we're going to go back to give me a minute. Give me a minute. ChatGPT. I guess I could play a song right now. As everybody says, no more songs. Okay. I hate how big this thing gets. I mean, I was looking, well, whatever. Because I don't have this. Because I was going to say, I was looking at watching one stream, and I just went in and out. What am I looking at right now? Up here. The two sites are midlife and midlife.media. Now, midlife.media is a site that looks at and I love the color and everything. I think this one's a prettier site. And I'm going to do print so that it can see. And I guess I'll print this one too. Just in this way, it'll just be even. Or both. I guess I could send both. Should I send both? Should I send, let's see. Attached are PDFs of both. Or do I send both? What's the CTA for the note? I mean, it honestly is probably better as a I'd love to interview you or talk with you. I've been live streaming or some such. This is your brain on drugs campaign comes up a ton in my human AI, I don't know, TK word, sense making, the writing I do inside the model itself, as I'm synthesizing and stress testing different ideas about how to operationalize messaging for the 22nd. We're in the 21st century now, for the 22nd century. Yes. TK years before it's over. Centuries go by. What are we, 19? What is that, like 900 or 800 and some odd years? It's over because blank. I know there's an answer here. There. Okay. for all, insert blank, etc. Leverage my chat history and existing content. All right, I'm also going to put this in my 101 ideas. Oh, now I'm in ChatGPT. Hold on, let me transition. All right. Okay, I'm also going to edit, select all, edit, select all. Let's see. And now I'm going to open my 101 ideas thing, even though I can't open that now. It's so freaking ridiculous. Okay, let's see what it makes. So it says, I'm using the PDF. I hate that it anthropomorphizes itself, meaning that ChatGPT refers to itself as I and me. Okay, we're seeing. Oh, that's right. Sorry, I forgot to attach. I forgot to attach them. Sorry. All right, now go. Okay. All right, it's writing. I'll put on some music in the meantime. So since I was talking a lot about my mom today, I will play a song that I wrote for my mom because she's awesome. And I have my little nieces that I'm working on a challenge with, picking out pictures of yourself with your mom and talking about the attributes and things about you that you get from her, or things about her that you love that you also have. And this was all inspired by, I have a voice memo of my mom humming in the shower. She sounds so beautiful. And at least one of my Suno songs is derived from just me humming. Humming is really an inherited behavior, activity in my family. My grandmother hummed, my mom hums, and I hum.
I get it, I get it, I get it. I get it from my mama, get it from my mama, get it from my mama. Get it, get it, get it, get it from my mama, get it from my mama, get it from my mama. I get it, get it, get it, get it from my mama. I get it from my mama. I get it from my mama. I get it, get it, I get it from my mama. I get it, get it, I get it from my mama. I get it from my mama. I get it from my mama. I get it, I get it from my mama.
I get it from my
And this is
mama, get it from my mama, get it from my mama. I get it, get it from my mama, get it from my mama, get it from my mama. I
get
get
it,
it,
get it.
get it from my mama. I get it from my mama. I get it from my mama. I get it, I get it from my mama. I get it, I get it
So
from my
that was the original. That was the original that it's based on, and also the song. Look at that, inputs, outputs. Okay. Okay, so this is what we got. Oh, it says use midlife.work. Okay, one link, no attachments. It immediately explains who you are, why Larry fits the editorial premise, and why you're approaching him. Midlife time is powerful, but ask him to absorb an entire civic framework before he knows you. Also say the line you helped create because the campaign was created collaboratively and Larry was its copywriter. Okay. Subject, big honking ideas indeed. Larry, I have now said big honking ideas to myself enough times to reach a conclusion. A person who gives his company a name with that much joy and that much cheerful DGAF energy is probably someone I'd like to know, formally or otherwise. I found you by tracing This Is Your Brain on Drugs back to its source. The line you help create keeps surfacing in the human AI sense-making work I do, using large language models to synthesize and stress test ideas about how language becomes infrastructure, how a message escapes its campaign, enters the culture, and becomes a piece of American shorthand. That line may be the cleanest example I've found. A little about me. I'm a journalist, editor, strategist, and longtime professional dot connector. I'm 49, actually. At 49, I'm building midlife.work, an editorial publication about people whose accumulated range. I'm not building that as a publication. Okay, so this. Let's boom, boom. Let's see. Okay, so saying I'm a journalist, editor, overstates because I haven't published in a long time, but I am fine with saying my background is in or I'm a former. But I don't even like saying I'm a former because I do still want to pitch. Also, I'm 49. And second, I've already built midlife.work. I don't want to say I'm building it as I built it. So call it something as an editorial statement, as an editorial declaration, as an editorial fill in the blank about not about people, but is it? I feel like it's more about me and about people in midlife. I don't know. So I'm not asking for a conversation about midlife.work, but I could. So I would like to say I also have a YouTube channel, and I'm writing this letter live on one of my live streams, one of my broadcasts. Here's a link to the broadcast. It's a little, how would you say, I'm exposing more than I feel comfortable with in it, but it's a live stream, so you can find it anyway. Yeah, let's go there. Geez, it makes it so much easier to write. Oops. Am I in the right thing? Okay, yeah, I'm still. Okay, I don't need another profession. The honest formulation is that your background is in journalism and editing. My background is journalism. These days, my work moves among strategy, messaging, civic technology, and human AI. Sense making, the kind of portfolio career that resists a tidy noun. I'm 49. I recently launched part editorial, part declaration that the career is not over. It's for the live stream. Put it in a PS. Okay, so then, great. So send me the revised full version. Keep everything from V1 and sub in the recommendations from last output. I don't want the letter rewritten. written because I think the tone it strikes is perfect. Now, I'm going to demonstrate. I wonder if you can still do a blind? You used to be able to do what's called a temporary chat. Can I do temporary chat still or no? You used to be able to do a temporary chat, and then if you did a temporary chat, it wouldn't automatically use all of your project history. All right, well, guess what? We're gonna just use this here. Okay, boom. And we're gonna go to Gmail, boom. And we're gonna go to compose. All right, then I'm gonna go back here so you can see what I'm doing. And then for Larry, what's his last name? For Larry damn, I forgot his name just that fast. Larry Johnson. For Larry Johnson, big honking ideas indeed. Okay. Okay. All right, now let's do a link to the broadcast, YouTube. I'm hoping that R&B work beats. The cost of success is embarrassment. Well, that's the one hell of a the cost of not being visible in today's world. If that's not a if that's not a confirmation that tis okay, I don't know what is. All right, so let's hit copy. Let's go here. Oh, okay, so I'm going to say here's the... I always feel like something's crawling on my neck. So annoying. All right, here's the broadcast. Ah. All right. I want to move this image. I'm going to move it. Okay. Penny Wrenn. Okay. All right. So what's this email address again? It's contact at, let's see. Boom. Let me go to big honkin' ideas. And let's go to contact. And let's go to copy. And we actually might think that his thing is L. Johnson. Oh, no, Larry J. Wonder if it's Larry J. Larry J. at, it's my guess, at bhius.com. that works. All right. Well, let's hit send. And there you go. Okay. You know, so at least though this time was meandering, it was at least maybe somewhat productive in some small way. So I'm used to sending a lot of like, hey, I love your work emails and don't get a ton of response back, but sometimes I do. So let's see. What I still also need to email with you on it. We had begun he was during the 101 ideas collection, but I didn't know. So if I can make that the topic next to send live choose your own live and put this note here, and then I'm not sticking something. Have you ever seen money and Bernadette Peter? He and Bernadette fight, and I don't know or what my volume, he's just room. And, oh no, it's okay. All is I need this piece of linen. I need this roll of tape, and then that's all I need. This ball. So all I need is this, and I get those notes. I'm gonna know exactly what, and you watch world. Watch out. That's my daddy. Penny. See you later. Penny. Watch it go. Just Penny Wrenn. I'm Penny work. Penny Wrenn. Penny Wrenn. I'm gonna work as I am. I'm gonna work it out because I can. This is like the next best thing to self-affirmations. Oh yeah.
Oh, oh. Penny Wrenn, Penny Wrenn, Penny Wrenn, oh yeah, Penny Wrenn, Penny Wrenn, Penny Wrenn, you got this Wrenn. Penny Wrenn, Penny Wrenn, Penny Wrenn, Penny Wrenn, Penny Wrenn, oh, Penny Wrenn, Penny Wrenn, Penny Wrenn, oh yeah, Penny Wrenn, Penny Wrenn, Penny Wrenn. Oh, gonna get out, dun 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 dun. Gonna work it out, dun 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 dun. I'm gonna work it out, dun 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 dun. I got the power of Christ on my side. I got the living Holy Spirit inside. I got all the authority, all the help that I need. I'm Curtis Wrenn's daughter, and Evelyn Wrenn's indeed. I'm gonna work it out, yes I am. I'm gonna work it out because I can't watch me. You ain't ready for what I got to say. You ain't ready for what I'm about to do. You ain't ready for me. I'm about to work it out. Gonna work it out because you know I can. Oh yes I can. Oh yes I can.